All right. Welcome to episode 2, Casper Chronicles. We're pretty lucky this week. We're sponsored by Untethered Wash. We put the power in Power Wash. How's that sound? You can send me the check later.
Yeah. Okay. It's in the mail. Don't worry.
But like $30, right now. Beginning podcast. So
Yeah. It's a bonded check, so in like 10 years it'll be worth like $32.
There we go. Okay, so this is to the family, and I think I'm still getting used to like talking as if we're talking to the family, but I'm also talking to you. But
right.
So we're gonna just take a minute. Everybody knows who you are, but you're obviously the second of the 7 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you're turning 29 now, or you're turning 30 this year. And something that I just made, because I was like reviewing my notes and stuff while we were with Katie's family.
Mm-hmm.
Your golden birthday is, I guess, technically 2025.
Yeah, just over a year from now.
Is that why you and Kenna are saving to go to Germany? Or is that just something?
Yeah,
I just was wondering. I made the connection to the golden birthday.
So our Germany trip is going to be our 10-year anniversary.
Oh, okay.
So I think next year, I
think about the same though.
Pretty much my golden birthday is the same year as our 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
So money-wise, we'll probably just combine it. It'll be kind of like a full
it's
thing.
It's your Father's Day.
Yeah, it's your Christmas.
Everything. It's 4th of July.
Everything.
It's Christmas.
Yeah,
that's what
expensive. So because I told her I want to fly first class because it's a 14-hour flight.
That would be awesome.
It's probably not realistic because it's like $5,000 a piece, but
no way. That's for sure. You just have to keep bringing up the golden birthday thing as just like the pushover factor.
I told her I wanted a golden bar for my golden birthday.
That's awesome. You should go try have you seen those things where you like reach in the glass case and you try to like pull the gold bar
get
out?
It all out. Yeah.
That'd be fun to
keep
try.
It if you get it out.
Yeah. It's like not even possible, but okay. And I just wanted to talk about the fact, so you have your 3 kids and we just had Makar's birthday and that kid is cracking me up. Like the way that he's walking, Katie's favorite thing is my favorite thing too, that he purses his lips and he does. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, we love it.
Oh my gosh.
He does it all the time too. It's not just like randomly, like you go in to get him out of bed and he's just like, he's
I love it. And it was so funny because Katie and I, again, we're just talking about this was when we sang happy birthday to him and our family kicked into the like obnoxious happy birthday where just seemed
probably threw
stupid.
Off
yeah, he said that she like looked at him and they were like, "What the freak is going on?"
Yeah, I love that. Their reactions are the best. Like when the Law's side of me comes out at their family reunions, everyone laughs, but it's always like that hesitant laugh. Like, is he being serious or is he joking?
And do they sing a different happy birthday song? Katie said she felt like they were about to sing a different happy birthday song. But
they kind of mess around a little bit. Like they'll sing the normal one, but like they end it differently sometimes. Just fun ways. So, but normally it's typically just the regular happy birthday.
Yeah, something that I'll want to go over a little bit later, and I already sent you the notes, so you saw it. You're your own business owner. Huge jealousy coming from me, but I think honestly, when I was like, oh, what are a few things, obviously to say about in intros? I thought that was. I don't know if everyone knows that. Do you think all the siblings know that you own your own business?
Yeah, I think so because they were all there at Trey's, and we were. I mean, I didn't announce it, but we were all talking about it. Like Katie had said I don't know if she's joking or not, but she was talking about it, working for me or you were her mom. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows about it, or at least I think so, because I never officially announced it to anybody.
Yeah.
But I've talked about it I think around everybody so far. So,
well, I honestly will want to talk a little bit more about that in a minute.
okay.
Okay, let's move on to the question of the day segment. Now, I'm going to say last week, but last podcast, last episode, I did the question was, what would the family be if they were zoo animals?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember what I said is yours?
The rhino.
Yeah. Okay. What were your thoughts on that? Well, like when you heard me say, "Oh, I
I
think Kai's a
thought,
rhino."
well, I think so. Like, I guess there's a couple ways that I could totally agree with that because I don't know if you've ever watched like Discovery Channel or that kind of thing where it's more documentary type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the rhino is like just chilling, you know? And I think even to this day, like I mean, I think I'm outwardly more energetic than I was as a kid, but I definitely
Mm-hmm.
still have that chill factor to me, you know? And so it's that kind of matches because the rhino, it takes a lot to get him going. I mean, rhinos are big. They don't like to move around if they don't have to. Like you have to really, really piss them off for them to,
Yeah.
chase you down or whatever. So I actually, because when you're like picking yours out and dad and moms and stuff, I was like agreeing with it. But then I like looked at Kenna because we were listening to it at the same time, just on my phone. I was like, I don't even know what I would be, what I would pick for me. And then when you said that, I was like thinking about it, and I kind of looked up rhinos like personalities, and when it was saying that kind of thing, I'm like, that's like
You're diving
super
into it.
accurate. Yeah, like
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I didn't look way into it, but like the first little paragraph on Wikipedia of like
Yeah.
rhino personalities or
Super
whatever, it's
docile.
yeah, just because it kind of reminded me of the people who like based on like your birthday or whatever, or like a Scorpio or a
Oh yeah,
praying
yeah, yeah,
mantis or whatever, But
yeah. Like the
it's
Chinese New Year stuff or the Chinese
yeah,
calendar.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Kenna had brought that up and was kind of like, not she's not like into that thing, but she was curious because her friend is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so it reminded me of the whole thing, and so I kind of was like looking into it. I'm like, I wonder if Loz said that and doesn't know why, but for some reason like knew why. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
it
So
was so weird. There was when doing it. I tried to be like almost in the same way that I kind of send you general notes of things. I tried to do that
hmm
self to myself to keep it a little
yeah,
bit more not scripted.
hmm
And I was like thinking things on the spot, other than mom and dad's. I knew that one when I saw the question,
yeah,
and so some of them I was like afterwards, like that was stupid. Like I didn't have a good one, but it was weird that like both Katie and Trey were like, "Oh, otter was a good one for ride." I was like, that was like my third thought. I think I even in the thing I was like, he's a lizard or something first, and then I was like, no, 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 no,
yeah,
that's not it. But yours, it came to me like right. Yours and Carter's, I was like, that was it, like 100%.
yeah.
Rhino and then Carter was the insects and stuff. But okay, good. I just was curious. And then what one do you think? What one would you change? Like when you heard it, you're like, nah, that wasn't a good one. Like what one would you change?
Um, See, I agreed with like all of them, especially mom and dad's, like when the lion and lioness
Yeah.
kind of thing, even the personalities from them, because like a lot of people when they ask those questions, they're like, well, um, you're a lion because you look like this or
Yeah,
physical
yeah.
features, but I think the way you chose them was good because it was more based off like the way that animal is, like I guess their personality and like just what type of animal that is, not based off of like physical attributes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I agree with like all of them really. I when you were doing those, there wasn't a single one that I was like, no, no, that's not right. And that's my opinion. Maybe the person who, maybe dad's like, well, I don't feel like a lion or whatever,
Yeah.
but but
That's
I think it
that's
was
like the
pretty
best
accurate.
point is throughout this and throughout all of the episodes that we'll do. The funniest thing, and mom and dad brought this up, is like, is this is our opinion and the way that we view things. Like it has
Yeah.
we don't need to put any stock into it, because it's
No,
like
it really doesn't matter.
it's
Yeah.
like literally like the whole thing with Kylie's going up to pick up Kylie. Mom's like, I could tell you so many things that you were way off on, but my little kid brain
Yeah.
was like, that's
Right.
just how I
Yeah.
thought, and
Just
that's
the
how
way
this
we
is all going to
perceived
be.
it
And I think
too.
that's what's going to be funny or fun is seeing like how we perceive things because it can change
Yeah.
like our opinions and our viewpoints and stuff. So okay,
hmm
so let's dive into your question. And your question is, first of all, the preemptive question is, what's the latest Pixar movie that you've watched? Most recent.
The most recent one that I can remember, because I am not.
I knew that you weren't like a Pixar person, and that's why I did this.
I don't watch animated very much, and
Yep.
even if like a movie like Star Wars comes off and I can tell the CGI like it's a little bit weird, like it's not that like, oh, they obviously can't jump that high in real life. It's like when the CGI is just a little too obvious, you know, that it almost looks animated. It's just not my thing. So like the girls are like, Dad, you never let us watch The Grinch. I said, well, one, it's October. We're still not close enough. I don't want The Grinch playing in the background while I'm, chilling or whatever. And two, it's just, I don't know, animated movies just never got my attraction. I think even as a kid, I was less into it than most kids were, So, which is a bummer for Kenna because she's way into them. So
I love them, but what's the most recent one then? I know that that's why I picked this question specifically, because I wanted you to really like, oh, this is so.
I actually had to like look on
your Netflix
Disney and Netflix to like go back and see which one I watched. And it was the one I can remember like being there and watching the whole movie was Onward.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that one's decent. Yeah, it's been out for a little while. Yeah, it was pretty decent. So
okay, so now the actual question then. So we're all kind of thinking about the movie Onward. If we haven't watched it, it's basically the mystical creatures as humanoid people and having an adventure.
Yeah,
but it's like modernized, so they have like cell phones and like.
Yep.
So it's like, what are they? They're like, what is the actual? They're actually like elves or something.
It's like 21st century meets magic and animation kind of thing.
So now with that, so if our family were the characters in that movie, who would we be and why? So I'm excited to hear this because I actually really like Onward.
So
what what are our characters? Start from Dad and just like go down the list.
So there's not enough characters, at least that I could remember, to put everyone in one, but I'll do everyone that I can remember. So Dad is the police horse stepdad.
I love it.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that like it has nothing to do with the fact
I'm not forgetting. Onward.
He probably has. He likes Pixar movies more than I do. But I picked him because, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it was like, had anything to do with like marriages and having, multiple marriages or families. It had to do with the fact that like his reaction to like what the kids were doing was just way chill,
Yep.
Like I remember obviously Mom was kind of more the strict one and stuff. And, leading into that, I believe Mom is the mom in the movie where she's like trying to get her kids on the right path and do the right thing. Like, anyway, so I think those two, Mom and Dad in the movie, really just match up good.
Okay. I like it.
And then, so the big beefy brother actually reminds me of Carter.
Oh, that is so 100%. I was about to be like, was when you said the movie Onward. I was like, okay, if he picks anyone else other than Carter to be the big brother, he's wrong.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of people almost like try to force it too much. Like oldest brother should be the oldest brother, and it's like that's not Laws at all. Laws is not like or at least not perceived as like the crazy adventurous, try everything once type of guy, But Carter, I feel like a little bit kind of goofy, funny, kind of like, but at the same, he can be serious occasionally, but he just likes to enjoy his situation.
The reason it makes me think of is he doesn't, he's himself. Like the older brother in Onward is like unequivocally like who he wants to be. Like when he like shows up to the high school, and that's 100% to me, Carter, because he's like, I mean, he's obviously a graduated senior in the movie, and he's like doing basically D&D, which I'm not saying Carter necessarily does, but he's like, I'm doing this because I love it, and I think that like that's how Carter is. Like
just that person.
none of us can relate super well to like the theater and the things that he does that. And the dude freaking loves it and he
Yeah,
crushes it.
he
Like
doesn't
from
quit
what I
it. We're
understand,
not into it.
crushes it, you know, and
Yeah.
but he's unequivocally himself. Yeah. So I
Hmm.
totally agree.
Yeah, that one, I think that one matches, Carter matches that guy better than anyone else matches the
Totally.
characters in the movie.
Yep.
And then the little brother, I actually feel like is kind of Trey,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
because Trey, I feel like even growing up, he always wanted to be around family, loves it. You know, we all
Mm-hmm.
love, you know, getting together and stuff, but I think Trey from a young age always loved being with family, cousins. I mean, he always hung out with the girl cousins, hung out with Asa. I mean, and he's, you
Yep.
know, he still does, you know, Hunter and Asa and them. But I feel like he also is always trying something new. He's always willing to give someone's else's idea a shot instead of just like shooting it down, you know? And so I
I
feel
like
like
it.
that kind of match, because the younger brother is also kind of doing his own thing, but at the same time is trying out what the older brother's doing, you know, try
Yeah.
to find the magical, I can't remember like the whole, it was basically bring their dad back, you know. So he's
Right.
like,
Right.
you know, his whole goal was to bring his dad back, but he's like, I guess I'll try what my older brother's saying if there's even a chance, you know. But then at
Yeah.
the same time, he's also his own person, you know, like willing
Yeah.
to try other people's stuff, but he's himself the whole time. So
Yep.
and also he's more in touch with his emotional side. You know, the older brother's fun and stuff like that, but like when I talk emotional, I'm like the full range, you know, happy, sad,
Yeah.
loving, all of that. And I think Trey is probably more so than the rest of us in touch with his emotional side. He knows
Yeah.
how to show his feelings better than I mean myself, I can say for sure, you know. So I think he
I would
matches up
agree.
with the younger brother really well in that aspect. So um
I like it. Okay.
yeah, and then for the I don't know why, but like that beast lady with
The
wings or whatever.
Manticore. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
she reminded me of me, but I think it's because it's like
Okay.
I
Let's
don't
hear
know.
why. Yeah. Let's.
I think it's because you know, with enough convincing, I'll do something, but I'm not necessarily like
Ah.
Trey
Okay.
where it's like, you know, what the heck, let's try it. You know,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
took convincing and pressure and everything to go out and do it. So it's kind of
Interesting.
I felt kind of related in a way in that way. So
Okay. I was gonna actually, when as you were talking about that, I was like looking up the just the pictures to kind of remember the characters and stuff,
hmm.
and I felt like Kylie a little bit is Manticore. I think that's how you say it,
Yeah,
Manticore.
yeah, she could match the Manicore.
Um, just like in and honestly, like a totally different view in the way that you're saying it, because I totally agree with what you're saying for you being the Manticore.
Hmm.
But in the movie, she goes from being like this businesswoman, like she was forced into being like a businesswoman to like
Right.
keep things going. But in reality, she's like a freaking beast and like can rock the world,
Yeah.
like rock people's world. And I think that like,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So
Yeah. I feel like Kylie has matches that really well. You're right. You know, she's transitioned from, you know, having fun with her friends to getting married and turning into this, you know, business lady doing her nursing or whatever it's called. Sorry, Kylie, I don't know exactly what it's called that you do. No, I call it nursing. Ken is a
yeah,
nurse, whatever, you know, kind of same aspect. But then, you know, having a kid and turning into this amazing mom. So it's like
yeah,
kind of, you know, just takes on whatever comes at her. So I agree with that.
cool. All right, I know, and you're right. There aren't a ton of characters. Did anyone else get a character in your head?
I couldn't remember a lot of
Okay.
other characters, so I couldn't really tie anyone else to them.
Okay, I think there's not really like any like major screen time characters other than those, to be honest. But I love the ones that you did. I love it. Um, okay, moving in to Would You Rather. I'm excited for this one, and I picked this one specifically for you. Would you rather give up all drinks except water or anything that was cooked in an oven?
It was a good one because at first I was like, oh, I'll give up drinks, but then I'm like, I actually was thinking about it, and I'm like, probably 90% of my sustenance is drinks.
We've talked about this
Seriously.
before, just in like,
Yeah.
because you've talked about, especially when you had your other job,
Yeah.
and like driving to work and stuff, you were like,
Yeah.
it's easier to grab a drink, like,
Yep.
or whatever. So,
Yeah, for sure.
thought process here. So
So
first of all, what's your final answer? What would you stick with, the one you're going to stick with?
I would give up anything cooked in an oven.
Okay.
And my final answer is that because I don't think I could give up drinks. I love drinks. I'll stop 6 times a day and get a drink, but I won't buy anything to eat. You know what I mean? And it's funny because there was actually a week ago or something. I was on a drink kick one day, and I've been trying to cut back and whatnot, but I was on a drink kick, and I had bought a refresher from Swig, and I brought Kenna home one. And then I think I was at Walmart to get something for dinner. I can't remember. So I grabbed a Monster and I grabbed Kenna a Diet Coke because I was trying to remember to bring her something if I'm coming straight home,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she likes Diet Coke. So I grabbed her Diet Coke. And then she's about to make dinner. She's like, I'm not really hungry. I'm like, yeah, me neither. And she's like, this is how you feel, huh? And I'm like, what? She's like, I haven't eaten anything all day. I've just been drinking drinks that you bring me. And I was like, yeah,
awesome.
It makes sense why I could go all day without, eating meals sometimes, because I just like to grab drinks while I'm out. So
okay. So this is my retort back to that is, what do you think you would actually eat then? Like, so just like start thinking about all the things you normally eat and how much of it is actually like made in an oven. Like I had to really and then I was like, my favorite meal in the morning is I make literally every morning eggs, some sort of meat sandwich, like egg sandwich. And I was like, does a toaster oven count? I was like, what, is that an
I don't
oven?
know,
So now I can't make anything.
We actually make toast most of the time in our air fryer. It's got a toaster.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and it does pretty good. Makes it a little bit.
You're like,
you
got the hack. You got the hack. You're like, I'll just put it all in the air fryer. Chicken, air fryer, no oven now. I don't.
Well, and
cake,
my smoker,
I'll just put it in the air fryer. It's not an oven.
Does the smoker count?
Yes, but that was my next thought. Is a smoker an oven, or is it like whole other category?
It does count, I think grilling doesn't count. Because temperature-wise, grilling is a lot hotter and faster. So I could still eat the meat that I like.
Yep. You got
steaks
me. I
and
didn't think about
chicken
grill.
breast. So I think that also helped once I really started thinking about it. I'm like, a lot of the foods I eat, like, I think most of the time we use the oven or the air fryer is to cook like cookies and brownies. And so I'm like, I could do without those. We don't eat them a lot anyway.
That would help me with things anyway, because then now I'm not
not a big deal.
My brain went to, I was like, I could do the drink thing. I'm not a drink person, never have been.
Right.
But then I was like, if I was you, because I know that we've talked about the drink thing, I was like, I don't know that I could. My brain just went to, would I just microwave everything? I was like, I don't know that I could eat like microwaved everything, Like I could have
chicken is disgusting.
Yeah, and then I was like, could I live off of Hot Pockets? Like, what's my like microwaved oatmeal or something? I don't know. I was just.
What does it count? If somebody else already cooked it in the
Katie's
oven?
like, I'll make you all your food. Yeah.
Or you just buy it from the store.
Kai's would you rather was he'd rather give up anything made in an oven rather than drinks.
Even if that included smoking.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
If we went as far to say that. So
you did definitely make a good point with the grill. I did not think of the grill at all. So that I think in my head, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that's not hard for Kai then. All right, moving on to past connections. Now, I want to kind of get your thoughts. I've gotten a couple people's thoughts. Just the family was amazing, and just reached out and said they liked the first episode with me talking to myself, which is so weird to think about.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you were listening to me tell the story about going and picking up Kylie? Just briefly, did you feel the same way? Were you like, that wasn't that
Yeah,
bad? I didn't feel the same. Like,
no,
what were your thoughts?
I definitely feel like I think the biggest thing that could have made it more of a positive memory, because it obviously picking up Kylie was not the negative part, right?
No, no, not at
But
all.
but the drive absolutely sucked because it was an hour up and then like 7 hours back because of traffic.
Oh, I
So
felt like that so
it
bad.
was like, yeah, yeah. I
I
feel like
honestly,
it just took forever to get home.
like in my brain, I honestly think that traffic was worse as a kid. Like in the sense that, like in a literal sense, that like I felt
Yeah,
we were in gridlock traffic
all the
every
time, every
single
time.
time.
Mhm. Well,
Every
I
single
think
time.
the time that Cammy could, like, Kylie was out of school and Cammy was ready to like pack her bags and get her
Yeah,
ready for
yeah.
the weekend was rush hour traffic. So it was
Yes, that's
like,
true. That's true.
it kind of made it suck.
Yep.
Plus, having 7 kids in the van, it's not easy to stop and have a meal somewhere. I mean, for the
True.
age we were trying to wrangle us, so
Yep.
stopping for a break wasn't really an option either. So I
Okay.
agree with you most of the time.
Okay.
Just, I felt like we got there. She got in the van, we all said hi, and we turned around and headed back home.
Yep. Okay.
So,
Now, for us, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I actually really want to hear your memory, but our
okay.
past connection together. So, what I sent you the notes on was our epic fights, and that's
Yeah.
basically all I gave you. Now,
Yeah.
what's your earliest like fight we had? Like you and we fought, obviously siblings, blah blah blah. We did those
Yeah.
things, but
Did a bunch.
for those Seinfeld fans, yada yada yada, um, we we punched. Like when I tell people that you and I fought, people are like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
all
they think it's
brothers,"
like, yeah, I
and
fought
I'm
with
like,
my
"No,
brothers. I'm like, no
we
kidding.
freaking fought. Like
Yeah.
like people are like, "Have you ever gotten in a fight?" I'm like, "Only person I've ever fist fought is my brother," and they're like, "What?" You know?
Yeah.
What's your
And that's like
earliest?
light. If we didn't
Oh
pick
yeah,
something up,
oh
then
yeah,
it was like an easy fight, an easy,
oh yeah.
you know.
So what
Um,
was your earliest one? Do you remember? I can tell you what mine is, but I just wanted to hear what your thoughts on your earliest memory of our like an epic fight we had.
I think the earliest that comes to mind was in the red brick house in Provo,
Okay.
the one close to Timpview High School or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
What was it like? What happened? Just like a quick little synopsis.
it was the one with the airsoft when
You
I
chased
didn't
me,
like,
just like
yeah, when I was chasing you and then, it went into the garage and I like threw a
like,
bike at you and everything.
that wasn't the shovel one. That wasn't the shovel one.
No, that was also the shovel because I
It was
came out of the
okay.
garage, hit you with the shovel. You started to run. The first way you went was into the garage, and then you're like, "Oh crap!" And then I picked up a bike and threw it at you.
Oh my gosh.
So
Is that when we also found the Christmas stuff? Like because you threw the bike at me, the like tarp fell off the Christmas stuff, or was that a different time?
no,
Another
that was probably
fight.
different. That was a different fight. Yeah, I think the red
um,
brick house we had the most fights, to be honest,
I that's what I was thinking too.
because I
Which is
remember like 3 or 4 of them.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
Is this
must have
okay?
been that
Yeah,
age. Hi,
If they
fam.
watch something?
yeah. All the kids in the background, they're gonna watch a show. I that's what my brain was like. Red Brick House was just like fight zone
Yeah,
for us. Like
I think we were
we
just
had
getting of the age,
tons.
starting to mature, a lot of
Yeah,
energy and a lot of
something.
testosterone starting to flow through us or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can remember probably I know for a fact I can remember 4 different fights. And there
See,
might have been more other little bit smaller ones and stuff.
yeah, oh yeah. I'm sure mom and dad would give us a couple too.
Yeah, that we don't remember.
Okay, so one specifically for me was I tried to like go through our houses. That's kind of how I segment our growing up years is
Yeah,
based on the
yeah.
house.
Which house?
And the earliest house that I can remember like an epic fight was the greenhouse.
Mhm.
And it's the tiki fight. Epic when you're like that's like my favorite thing
Oh, that
that
was
wasn't
that was the first
insane
time
fight.
I broke your tiki fight.
Yeah, that's number one.
That was
That
when
was
I
number one.
actually broke it. The
Yeah, you
second
like
time in the red brick was just when I broke it at that
yeah,
glued
yep,
spot. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So the reason I remember this one, um, I can remember it like so clearly and unclearly. I know that sounds so dumb. but we came home from church. Remember how the garage was on the very bottom level with our room and the like laundry room and
bathroom? Just go straight into our room. Yeah.
We came home from church, went in, and you and I were getting undressed, and we started fighting about something. We were yelling at each other. I don't remember what. And you got all the way undressed, and I was like half dressed. So I think I still had like my church pants on, but like everything else was off. And you were cozy dressed, you know, after church dress.
Right.
And it just started getting heated, and we were just going at it, going. And then somehow you got the He-Man box, big old Tupperware, and you tried to throw it at me, but the like box that was filled with He-Man fell, and the lid just like threw at me, and I caught it, and I laughed at you because I was like, "What? That was pathetic." And then that pissed you off.
That made me way more mad because it didn't hurt you.
that's when it just like, and then you just like, you start grabbing everything from our closet, like shoes, everything. You just like started throwing a million things. And I was like, boo, 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 blocking it with the shield, like with the lid. Yeah. And then that made you more mad because I was like, this isn't even hard. And you were like, yeah. And you were like, and I remember watching you look around the room. You like didn't know what to do. And then your eyes lit up when you saw my tiki. And then you grabbed it and just, and then I was like crying and like mad and just like jumped on you. And then that's when like dad and mom came in, you know, so it was probably like literally like a 2-minute thing, but I just know that
you got that tiki from mom and dad's Hawaii trip, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's just been some crazy ones. There's the one with you throwing water into the bathroom. There's the one where we fought, but then later you barfed, choking on something that I got blamed for.
That was another one that I broke your tiki.
Yeah.
You went under the blanket and I couldn't get you.
And then there was plenty of times, I don't remember the fights, but I remember us getting our arms belted for fighting. I remember one time that you got both your legs belted, so you were midget walking around the house on your knees, and I got both of my arms belted, so I was like chicken winging everywhere. And we like came to the compromise. Yeah. Oh man. And then we came to the compromise. We were like, we can't do this without each other. So we like helped each other do things throughout the rest of the time of being punished. I remember one time.
That's what made mom and dad the most mad. Is like,
is that
about 10 minutes later we were best friends again and helping each other while we were in trouble.
It never made sense, but it always happened. Yeah. And then like I remember one time, and I tell people this one all the time about like how our anger, both you and I, when we were little, had so much anger towards each other when we get in these fights, that I remember one time, and this was in the brick house too, that you remember the rooms that were upstairs and that were across from each other next to mom and dad's room.
Yeah, in the very back corners.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So me and you had gotten in a fight. We were still like fuming, and mom was like, you gotta go in this room, you gotta go in this room. And you can't come out until you can figure out how to get out. And mom belted the doors together, but just enough space for one door to be opened enough for us to like squeeze through, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were like just mad. And so like, we were like, do. And the doors, like, we wouldn't let the other one like open the door. We would like, you would like get it open, and I would like, boom, 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 boom. And it's so funny to me thinking about like,
I'm surprised mom didn't come back in and yell at us for slamming the doors.
Oh my gosh. Again, and like I said at the beginning, like these are obviously our brains. That probably literally lasted 12 seconds, but just the back and forth between me and you, just so mad at each other that it was like, and it like wouldn't go. I remember shooting you in the eye with the airsoft gun, and you got super mad about that. And then plenty of airsoft mads. There was plenty of those in every
time we played
brick house. Oh yeah. And it's so funny that is like,
or the time that Hunter was at the house hanging out with Trey. Remember she ran around and got hit in the bush because she was scared.
Yep.
Because you were running from me and I picked up a chair and chased you out the door.
So many of them. And it's funny that like that was so normal to us. And like you said, 10 minutes later, we were like, it never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
If mom and dad didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Seriously, though. It's like the classic.
It was over that quick, you know.
Those are the best memes when it's like, don't tell mom.
Yeah.
I'll let you punch me.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, so
those are funny.
that was kind of like a big. That's a pretty common talk about connection for us. But what is a memory that you have from when you were younger that I'm not involved in? And the reason I want to do this is like, obviously the things that you and I talk about or people hear us talking about is obviously the memories that we have together. And I'm
Right.
hoping that you sharing these other ones in these podcasts and the others sharing them can give a little bit more. Maybe they're not even with the family, like it doesn't necessarily have to be with the family, but you were talking about before we got on that it was a little bit hard to think about. So kind of give us the background and then share that story with us.
So I've got two. I'm gonna make one really quick because I want to tell it. It was when we were younger, and I don't know if you guys ever caught on. So me, you, Trey, and Dad. This was at the greenhouse down by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
We were going somewhere, can't remember where. I had to poop. Dad said, "Hold it. You can go at the store." Going to Macy's or Smith's or something stupid like that, just a store. And as I'm like ready to get out of the Suburban, you remember the old Suburban we had?
Mm-hmm. The blue one.
Yeah, so I was climbing out over the very back seat. I had to climb over that. I farted, but I pooped. So I just remembered this while we were talking too. So I knew that I had pooped enough that there was something in my pants, right? It wasn't a little sharp. So I looked at Dad. I said, "Dad, I don't want to come inside." And for whatever reason, normally at Mom and Dad, it was like, you don't get to wait in the car. You're coming with everybody. Yeah. But Dad was like, whatever, just stay here. We're going to be quick. I was like, sweet. Okay. So I sat in the car and I waited. I sat back down.
Sat in it.
We got home. Like you said, our rooms were right through that door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was the bathroom, like if you went right, that small one that Mom made down there. And so because I was in the back seat, I was the last one to get out because I didn't want anyone to see my butt. I went to the bathroom and it turned out that I had pooped my pants. So I just thought about that one. I don't know if I ever have told anyone that story.
What, did
Probably not, because I forgot about
something recently happened that made you think about that, Kai? Like, what's going on?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. But the other memory that I was thinking about that I wanted to share, I believe a senior. I was hanging out with some dumb friends. You remember them, Colton, I was hanging out with him. It was late night. I was probably supposed to be home. I was late all the time, past curfew. We were at the high school football field in Orem High, just hanging out, me and Colton. And he's like, "Bro, should we like streak across the field?" It's like, "No, I'm not running naked across the field. I didn't streak." He's like, "Okay, film me." So he got his phone and he streaked across the field. It's stupid because there's nobody there, at least that we know of. It's probably like midnight and Colton's running across. And I thought it was funny. And so, but he was running away from me. So after he ran away, it's like, man, I got to pee. So I walk away for a little over towards the corner. So I just dropped my pants. I peed on the O-Rock. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
It's just first thing that came to mind, like, oh, look, a rock. And then it's the O-Rock and I peed on it. So
you were a wild fellow for that last year of high school.
Yeah.
I should say random fellow. And obviously I wasn't even there to know what you were going through because I was on the mission, but
I don't know. Hilarious. I don't even know. Thinking back to half the things I did, it's one of those things where it's like, just whatever. As a kid,
you're in high school,
comes in your head and you did it and it was stupid, but it's funny. So, but that was one of the few things I can remember that was kind of funny that I did that you hadn't. I don't think I ever shared with you. So
no, I have never. That's awesome. I was gonna die if you said that you streaked. I was gonna die. That was gonna be.
I
peak.
didn't. I was. I don't know the complete nudity thing. Plus, I was a chubby kid.
Plus, you're twigging berries out there. You don't want people seeing those bad boys.
And I don't know why it would have mattered. There was nobody there but Colton. So
yeah.
It's just
I get it. I get
Oh,
it. I'd be the same way.
yeah,
So now, um, going into what you're famous for, as I'm going to go through these podcasts, I want to talk with everyone about what they're famous for. And now, as I was thinking about yours, there was like a couple things that kind of came to mind, but um, honestly, the one that I think is like what you're most famous for as a kid specifically is how mellow you are. And you mentioned it when we were talking about your reaction to Animal I gave you. When
yeah.
we talk about you being mellow as a kid, what does it make you feel like? Do you agree with the way that we portray it? Do you feel like you're like, I
Yeah.
think you guys make me sound
It's
dumb? Like, what do you
no,
think?
it's like I mean, there's times where people obviously over exaggerate it, but it doesn't bother me because it's true. Like I can't be like, I'm not offended. Like when mom's like, literally, we'd come in the room and you'd have one arm in your shirt. Like
Do you
I
remember things like
remember
that?
doing that. Yeah,
You do?
I remember. Quick story. Vegas, we had those bunk beds that how the
Uh
bottom
huh.
one stuck out further than the
Yeah.
top one.
Yeah.
I remember, don't know why, to this day, meditating in my own brain or something. I don't know. But I don't know if we were getting ready for school or church, whatever. We were putting clothes on, getting dressed. I'm
Yep.
in my underwear and I sit crisscross applesauce around the leg of the bed and I just sat there. And then mom, I was still naked. I hadn't started getting dressed yet. And I think I had underwear on, but mom came in and she's like, Kai, get dressed. I'm like, all right, all right. So I get a shirt, and I think this might be the story where I had one arm in, but I started putting my shirt on and then I just sat back down and
You're just
crisscross
like
around I don't even know why I was straddling the stupid bedpost. I was just
bedpost.
like the bedpost, and then I was like crisscross
Yeah.
applesauce around it. Just and I was just like leaning against it, just like chilling. Like it probably
I,
felt good on me. It was cold or something. I don't know. Like
yeah.
and
I,
yeah, I remember mom coming in like 4 or 5 times till she like threatened to spank me. But
yeah.
I just one leg at a time, one arm at a time,
I,
just chilling.
one of my favorites, and this is one, and maybe you won't remember, but this was actually in high school in Amanda's house. We were going to Orem, and you remember how
Hmm.
I woke up early and I'd like get out of there
Yeah.
pretty early.
Hmm.
I don't know why, and I think I even had early morning seminary or something. But one of the days I wasn't going, and I was like doing normal school time, so I was like doing my normal routine. But I got up early, and mom
Hmm.
yelled down to me one time, knowing that I was up, "Hey, wake up, Kai! It's time for school. Like we got to get going, right?"
Hmm.
And I went into your room, and you were, I don't know, I think you were sharing with Trey at the time, um,
Hmm.
and I was like, Kai, time for school. And you were like, like just whatever, classic teenager getting up for
Yeah.
school. I left
Hmm.
the room, but I turned on your light and you were like, gosh, like you were mad. And I was like, whatever. And I went into the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, walked past the room. And I looked in there just to like see you. And you were sitting at the edge of your bed. And I was like, oh, he's up. Walk in my room. I get dressed. I come back to go like brush my teeth or something, and you're sitting and you're in the exact same position, like literally hasn't moved. But maybe it was only a couple minutes, like go
Yeah.
back. I like brush my teeth. I go upstairs, had to get something, come back downstairs. I see you and you have your head in your shirt, but no arms. So it's like a scarf around your shirt, but you're still in like your shorts or boxers or whatever you slept in.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we like gotta leave soon. And you were like, I know. And I was like, okay. Like I was the way that you and I, that's where we were like completely different. I was like, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom in the mornings, like just going at it. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, that I remember like going by your room because I was like, I wonder if he's ready. And I didn't say much to you other than those few times, but I'd like go by to look and you'd straight up be like halfway in a pair of pants. And I'm not talking like one leg. You'd have it like on your both legs and then it was like pulled up to your knees, but you were like standing up, like you were waiting for them to levitate up your body or something like. And so I just was curious, like if what you're famous for in the family you feel is portrayed like wrong or like too much
No.
or like, or if you're like, nah, that's, and you even said
The
like you feel
only
like you're
time,
not like that now.
yeah, well, not as often or as much. I remember freaking kind of on our honeymoon. We
Is he
had
just like zoned out?
I don't know what was going on, but we flew to Florida. to get ready to get on our cruise ship. We stayed a night in a hotel before we had to go board. That night I was showering. I can't remember exactly everything we were doing. We were just chilling for the night. We didn't go out or nothing.
Yeah.
And after my shower, I don't know if it was a hot shower or what, but it triggered something. I was in my towel and I sat at the edge of the bed. And Kenna was like, and I was just sitting. Kenna was like getting ready for bed, in the bathroom, getting makeup taken off or whatever she was doing, getting ready for bed and brushing her teeth and stuff. And she's like, "You want to brush your teeth?" She pulled all the bathroom stuff out. And I didn't respond to her or something. And she like come out and I was still sitting on the edge of the bed in my towel. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And she's like, "Okay." And like went back to the bathroom, completed everything, comes back out, and I'm still on the edge of the bed in my towel. No, it hadn't moved. And she's like, "Do I need to check your heart? Are you like, you're like, okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm just chilling. Like, I'm just sitting here."
Like, what's that problem? Yeah. This is normal.
And I remember that night, she's like, "I'm kind of jealous because you can like,
that's not
in your head, just like not do anything."
Yeah. That's like Rick's
story too. It's less frequent as I get older, but
I'm sure
it's still like the mentality of just like chilling. Like I like to just chill. Like that's very accurate. So very mellow.
So we want to kind of get an update of your guys' present situation. So obviously yours were the interviews with you, but we'd love to hear a little bit about Kenna and the girls and the car.
Yeah.
What's kind of going down for you guys?
So Kenna, I mean, she's working. She's a nurse at the hospital. She usually works only about once a week, sometimes twice a week, just depends on finances and whatever. Or sometimes she picks it up just because she can, or she helps her, helps her coworkers out if they have something they need to get a shift covered. But for the most part, it's called being PRN, where you work once per pay period. She works twice just because she likes.
But it's like to maintain credentials, right, or something like.
Yeah. So when the point of PRN is like basically not working. It's like twice a month. But at the same time, you're working enough to maintain your credentials as a nurse. Because I don't know if it's the same for doctors and stuff, but from what she's told me as a nurse, if you stop working long enough, your license to be a nurse or whatever it is, credentials will lapse and you'll have to go back to school to get them back. So it's like, I've talked to her multiple times, because, I've talked to her about not working anymore, all that. And she's like, "I will never not work anymore." I was like, "Well, what if,
just
one of my business, I don't know." I even asked, like, what if my business ideas hit one day? We're super good with our money. We've got like $100 million in the bank. She's like, "Oh, I still work."
I love it.
She's like, "I went to school to be a nurse. I never don't want to be able to be a nurse." Like she'll, even if it is like once a month or something, like she'll always work enough to keep her credentials. That's what she's told me. No matter, it has nothing to do with money. It's just, she's like, why would I have gone to school to not use it type of thing. So
cool.
Which I'm proud of her.
Berlin?
I mean,
but
so Berlin, 6 right now. She's in 1st grade. Loves school. One of the days,
I know that we see each other like relatively often, but just in case some of them haven't recognized, Berlin's getting tall. Like, we measured her with fast. Phoenix, and Katie joked that it was just Phoenix's hair giving him the height, but she is. Yeah, she's tall.
She's growing up quick. Yeah, and it throws us off because she's the diva in the house and totally kills me 90% of the time, but I love her. She's great. She's definitely very, very girly, like to the extreme.
Did you anticipate that? Because I feel like when she was little, like there was lots of boots and ranching and steaks and stuff, but now it's like.
And she loves all of that still. Like I'm working on my truck and she will come out and talk to me about what I'm doing. "Fixing your truck, Dad?" "Yeah." what's wrong with it? Oh, nothing, I'm just doing this and this or whatever.
Yeah.
Or she'll help me change, easy, like a little while ago, I changed out the shocks, which is an easy job, and she
Yeah.
ran the impact gun because she was interested.
That's
And
so cool.
steak is still her favorite food. Like,
Okay.
loves that kind of thing, but is still like she gets upset
She's
if
well-rounded then. She's
yeah, I would
she's
say
gonna be
so.
rocking her pretty girl stuff at school, but then she's like,
She'll
don't
eat a
count me
steak
out in
dinner
a
on a
fight
date.
or
Yeah.
in a fight
Yeah.
or in a fixing my
Yeah.
car and stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
awesome. How about
So
Navy?
it is awesome. Navy is extremely tough. Like, not as girly as Berlin. She is me in the fact that it'll be like, what do you want for dinner? She'll go, what is Berlin having for dinner?
Okay, I see what you're
Seriously,
saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, seriously
When
is
you were
doing
little,
that,
like that.
doing that. Like,
Okay.
it'll like tonight, for dinner, I was like, hey, girls, what do you want to eat? Navy's like, ramen. Berlin's like, I just want a toast. Or for lunch, anyway. And Navy's like, yeah, I want a toast too. And then she ate her ramen and didn't even eat the toast. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but she just loves Berlin and just always wants to be doing what she's doing. And yeah, she's awesome. She loves preschool. She's like me in the fact that you're like, what'd you learn? She's like, man, I don't want to tell you right now.
She's
She'll
like,
just tell
it
you
doesn't
that.
matter.
I'm like, are you going to tell me later? Maybe. Like,
That's
all
awesome.
right. Glad you like preschools. So, and
And then
then
Lil Makar
Makar,
just had his
yep,
birthday.
yep, just turned 1 the other day, and we're loving it. He's so close to walking. He
Yeah, he
loves
is.
to walk if you hold him up, he's holding your hand or whatever. But as soon as you let go, he like stops and like hesitates and then falls
Yeah.
down to the ground. But super close to walking. Just
I feel like
probably
it's been
that
so
he's just
quick. Does
amazing.
it feel
Yeah.
like that to you guys? Like that
Oh
the
yeah.
year of him is
I was like looking at pictures the other day with Kenna and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like you
yeah.
do that with all your kids too. It's just
Yep.
like,
Yeah, of course.
what the freak? Like, but he's just the happiest kid ever. Every time you go to get him out of bed, you could wake him up and he'd be extremely exhausted, but he'd give you a smile or the,
Yeah, I love
when he,
that. It's so
anytime
cute.
you see him. So we
It's a
love
little
it.
O face.
Yeah. Yeah. We love it. So
Awesome. Okay, so I didn't put this in yours, so I don't think that you saw it when you printed off your sheet. We got two last quick little segments to finish out here. We've kind of went over a little bit on time, but I honestly kind of figured that was going to happen for you and I.
yeah.
Okay, so
I think
this
it'll
is an
happen a
anonymous.
lot, but that's all right.
Probably, honestly, probably, which
Especially
is
these
great.
first ones,
Yeah. Yep.
So
Okay, this is an anonymous question that I reached out to a random family member, and they're asking, and let's just hear what your answer is. This person said, "Who out of anyone in our family impresses you the most?"
that's hard because I could pick most of you, if not all of you.
Yeah,
Probably
we're
the
gonna just put
most.
our judgments aside here. You just gotta give us one answer.
Well,
I know it's hard.
okay. Um,
They told me to dig. They wanted it. They wanted the answer.
I'm trying to think because, like, you always think of all your siblings, like what. I'm trying to think overall versus like, because what first comes
One
to mind is
particular.
what impresses me the most out of each of you. But it's like, who impresses me the most right now? Probably Carter.
Love it. Love it.
And it's because he's doing with his life something that none of us would have ever done. None of
That's cool.
us really left the house till we were married. I mean, Rye did. I guess Rye did a little bit. But I mean, I'm talking Carter went to Washington on his own.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Just, chasing after his dreams and his jobs and stuff. Again, going back to the movie and stuff, like he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you like what he's into, what he's doing. He's still going to do it himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the judgment of others, I guess you could say. And I think from young and even recently, meaning like a year or two ago till now, I think he's matured and grown mentally to like a surprising extent, honestly.
Awesome.
Not saying, he can't learn more, everyone can, but
Oh, yeah. No.
I think from in just a short amount of time in his life, he's grown, I think, further in some aspects than I have yet,
Awesome.
or even comprehend.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's doing things that I would have never even thought to do in his
Yeah.
in his, in the way he's doing things. So I think he
Well,
impresses
shout
me
out
the
to
most right
Carter.
now.
Most
Yeah.
impressive in the Casper
If you watch
family,
this,
according to
if you
Kai's
watch or listen
standards.
to this,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
for what that's worth.
I'll give you one guess, but I'm not telling you yes or no, or whether you got it right or wrong, who you think asked the question.
So I have to guess, but you're not going to tell me.
Yeah, I want that because I want them to hear it,
Want
and then
them to
like
see if I can guess who
yeah,
said that.
like I want to give them the chance to
And
kind of
is
be
it
like,
only
ooh,
siblings, or is it like their spouses possibly?
Casper family.
Okay,
Casper
so
family.
okay. I would say that came from Kylie.
All right. All right. Okay, to close out today,
If I'm wrong,
final
sorry.
question. Final question to close out for today's podcast, episode 2 with Kai. And what we'll do is just once you kind of give your answer, we'll kind of trail off and end the podcast. You'll be able to stay on just for a moment, and we can just talk through after I end the recording. But closeout question for today: what moment from your childhood are you most proud of?
So the one thing I can think of the most that made the biggest impact in my mind is my Eagle Scout project. Because, in the moment I was doing it as fast as I could to get my driver's license or whatever. But thinking back on it, I think it actually had a bigger impact. Because my Eagle Scout project, for those of you who don't remember, whatever, was a food drive for the local uh, like
Teenage
children
shelter,
or
right?
kids, teen shelter, something like that.
Yeah.
So like if they're in a, their parents were abusive or something, they could legally run away to this shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a food drive for them, which turned out way awesomer than, we filled that entire, it was right before we moved back to Utah too, in Oregon. We filled that basement room of that last house.
Yeah.
Like filled it way almost completely full and stacking it up with, preserved foods and stuff that they could use for hopefully a decent amount of time at the shelter. And then when we were taking it in, they asked us not to like talk to the kids and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
But like, which is whatever, but half the people helping us were the kids that lived there, helping us load the food, because I don't think they were aware how much food we were bringing. They probably thought, oh, some family's donating a box of food or something.
Yeah.
But when it turned out to be an Eagle Scout project and we were bringing a truckload of food, I don't know. I just think back to that, and it's like, I hope that, and I feel like we probably helped a lot of people. They probably never knew about it because it's something they eat versus, clothes on their back or something. You don't think as much about where it came from a lot of times, and maybe for them they did because of their circumstances. But I don't know. I think that was probably the one thing that when I was younger that I did that helped somebody or multiple people the most. So.
Wow. Not the answer I didn't even, that was out of left field for me. And I actually really like that. I really love it. So the moment of your childhood you're most proud of. That's cool. That's really cool to look back on. Appreciate your time. Everyone, thanks for
Yeah.
listening. This one's an hour. Have a good night.